Hey guys, Jay, welcome back to the channel. So, guys, man, I swear to God, we just talked about indie projects last night, didn't we? We did indeed, but you know what? It's just a hot topic right now. I mean, we have multiple different companies talking about, getting into crowdsource. I mean, Hasbro's already doing it, raising millions of dollars for their projects to get, the Ghost, which only has a few days left. If you guys are looking to back that project, we still haven't unlocked Kanan. Jarrus. We still have not unlocked him, and we still have Zeb left to go. So yeah, guys, only 5 days, getting closer to 4 days left to back the Ghost, and it's looking pretty close. But I think I still am pretty confident that every single tier will be unlocked. I'm pretty sure about that. And don't forget, if they actually unlock all tiers, they will give us, get this, guys, they will give us the ability to order Sabine Wren and Chopper. Can you believe that, guys? They're going to give us the ability to buy these things. There are a lot of people online right now talking about how that should have been included in the entire campaign. As a matter of fact, some people are advocating that those characters should have been included as bonus characters every single time we unlock one of the figures, which I think might be a bit stretch. That might be a bit of a stretch in my opinion. That's kind of rough. And of course, hot on the heels of that crowdsource project, we have the Cat's Lair. This thing's an absolute beast. If you guys saw my video on the Cat's Lair at PowerCon, I swear to God, this thing, whatever you're thinking this thing is, whatever you're thinking, if you think that it's the size of Snake Mountain over here, you're wrong. I was wrong. I was absolutely blown away because this thing, not only is it bigger than Snake Mountain, the Cat's Lair head is bigger than my head. It's bigger than everybody. It's huge. If you haven't watched that already, definitely go and watch the video where I actually take a look at it. They do it full 360. I talked to Brian Flynn of Super 7 about the Canadian connection and how those details are coming soon. As a matter of fact, we already have a Canadian distributor. It's absolutely crazy. So that Kickstarter will probably end in another 15 days, probably even less now. So guys, be sure to put down your pledge for the Cat's Lair from Thundercats. You guys aren't going to regret that. But today, I'm super excited to be talking more about the indie scene. Last night we had a couple of very special guests. We had Brick from Brick Something, and of course Adam from Highly Articulated. We also had Jason from Spiro Toys talking all about how their experiences were with Kickstarters. Of course, Brick Something and Adam didn't really have anything to do with that, but Jason really did relate how difficult it was. The fact that his first project actually failed, so he's actually been on the independent crowdsource project for quite some time. That one didn't pan out from the first time, but he bounced back. And as we know, his last project really did hit a home run. And now AWOC, Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, and Spiro Toys is a pretty big deal in terms of like the indie toy scene. So we know that this can work, but the subject of whether or not big, companies like Hasbro and Mattel, because Mattel is now on this coming Tuesday, Mattel is actually giving us, the fans, the ability to choose the next crowdsource project for Mattel Creations. That's crazy. So, we already have Eternia, which was fully funded and was only a few hundred backers away from unlocking the final stretch goal. It really got close, right? And that was a huge success. But since then, Mattel's track record has been pretty low. They're actually 0 for 3 right now in terms of their crowdsourced projects. The latest of which was the Jurassic Park Gates, which did not fund. It didn't even get close. Prior to that was the WWE Nitro entrance stage. That was again a bit of a really big hit and miss. And then even at the end, they were rearranging their stretch goals just to try and get it to work for as many people as possible. It just did not seem to pan out. It's unfortunate. But this also brings up the question: is crowdsourcing something for billion-dollar companies? And that question is going to continue to come up. But tonight's discussion is, of course, about what Kickstarter was really meant for. Why was Kickstarter even created? Why was Indiegogo created? Why were any of these crowdsourced platforms actually made for? Well, I got to tell you, they're made for the independent artists. They're made for people who are, having trouble getting their project, their dream, right, actually funded so that they can get these wonderful projects off the ground. Comic books, right, toys, video games, that's actually what the original intent for a crowdsourced project was. And there are a couple of creators who I want to highlight tonight, who are trying to get their projects off the ground. So I wanted to bring in some very, very special guests tonight, guys. I've known these two for a long time. Like we've been doing the comic book scene, we've been doing the independent scene for quite some time, and finally, they've decided to jump headlong into the indie scene. I want you guys to give a warm welcome to my friends from Comix Asylum. Guys, first I want to introduce a wonderful graphic designer, someone who, of course, I'm a graphic designer. We've been in the trenches together. So, guys, please help me welcome Vaughn Joseph from Comix Asylum. What's going on, Vaughn? You're on mute, so just don't. I do that all the time. It's okay.
Force a habit. Okay.
I'm
doing good, man. Doing good.
I do that all the time. How's it going, Vaughn? How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I'm glad to be here.
I want to congratulate you once again, guys. If you are in the Hamilton area, Vaughn has officially opened up massive creative in the Vaughn. I'm sorry, in the Hamilton area. Sorry, yeah. Vaughn.
No worries.
Before we get started, tell us a little bit about Massive. Like what's going on with Massive right now?
So Massive was I was doing I've been doing this for a while, and I moved to Hamilton in 2017, I think, and I wanted to kind of establish something that was a little bit a little bit more established and set down like core roots where somebody could come and talk to a graphic designer without having to worry about any issues. I set that up for a while. We're working out of a co-working space, but we've had the opportunity now. I got a physical storefront and set it all up and painted it and all kinds of stuff. So people could walk in ground level and talk to a graphic designer. Because the classic situation that we always hear is, I don't know where my web designer is. My man just vanished, right? So, or I can't get a hold of my graphic design guy. So the whole idea around this is to kind of alleviate that. So it's a little more grass level. People can talk to somebody when they have an issue, if they need to come pick up their prints and stuff like that, or whatever the physical things that we've created for them. They know where we are 100% of the time, right? Everything's in-house, local, supported, and everything, right?
Absolutely. And once again, they are. What's the address for the?
So it's 319 King Street East, Hamilton, Ontario, right down in International Village in the heart of Hamilton.
Awesome. So, guys, if you're ever in Hamilton, or if you live in the Hamilton area and you need the services of a graphic designer or web design, definitely check out Massive on King Street East. You guys aren't going to regret it. I personally recommend them for sure. 100%.
Thanks, James.
Absolutely, no worries. I want to bring in the second half of the creative team here for their project. We've known this guy for such a long time. Steve, what's going on, brother? How you doing today?
Hey, how's everybody?
Long time, brother. Like it's good to see you guys again. And you know what's so exciting for this brand new project. So Steve, how have you been? What have you been working on? Like you're still teaching? Like everything's good, or like?
No, actually I've retired. I retired from teaching, so that door's closed, and now I'm fully into comics and writing and working in film as well too. So it's been a good change.
That's incredible. Oh my goodness, that's just amazing, and it must be so liberating right now, being able to do what you want instead of doing what you have to. But retirement is good, especially in the education sector. They take care of you, so I'm glad that you're now settled and everything like that. Other than this particular project, what have you been working on? Like anything writing and things like that, or?
So I'm working on my own, I guess 5-issue miniseries for a comic book called Chronocari Alpha. I published the novella of it back in, I think, 2014.
Nice.
So I've got about 100 of the 110 pages drawn. Continuing to work on Atrium, and then I've been doing some storyboard work. I did some stunt work in some films, and did some storyboarding for films as well too. So along with that and doing some writing, it's been a pretty full slate.
Okay, Steve, did I just hear you did stunt work in films?
Yeah.
Brother, we're not getting any younger, man. Are you serious? You're risking
Let's just say
limb.
I stumbled into it. Let's just say that. And I'm not going to be like jumping off any bridges on fire or anything like that, but it's been fun. And the whole thing about being in those kind of situations is it actually helps to inform my storytelling when I'm doing comics and writing scripts. So it's been quite educational as well as a lot of fun.
All right, protect those fingers, brother. Like seriously,
absolutely.
I don't want you losing the ability to create. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna have to dictate from now on. That would be absolutely horrid. I want to bring in one more special guest to help on this panel because this is the independent scene is so varied and so vast. But you know what? independent creators need this type of boost, and I really wanted to bring in somebody who's been in the trenches, who's actually had several books published through this method. I want to bring in my very good friend, Gilly Writes Comics. Gilly, what's going on, my brother? How are you doing tonight?
Guys, what's going on? Mega J, thank you so much for having me. Pretty cool to just be on a stream with like-minded individuals and just talk about some comics and the struggle of the independent scene, but we keep on rocking and rolling. That's what we do.
Absolutely, my friend. How are things going with you? You know, the family's good. You know, the books are your Kickstarter. We'll talk a little bit more about everyone's Kickstarter, but how's everything going with you?
So far, so good. My family's good. I'm a underground creative writer. I've been in the comic book game, I want to say almost 10 years. My first Kickstarter was in 2014 called Under the Flesh. And it's been a learning experience ever since. The big dream for me is to get published by the big two, Marvel and DC. That doesn't happen yet, but you know what? I keep on going on. This was one of my favorite titles right here, Galactic Rodents of Mayhem. We did that. We were able.
You want to bring it back up, Gilly?
Oh, yeah. Galactic Rodents of Mayhem. If you grew up in the Saturday morning cartoon eras of the 80s and 90s, you'll feel right at home with this. And if you got some TMNT vibes from there, we definitely have our own TMNT homage cover. So yeah, just been writing. I've covered everything from horror, from sci-fi, action, Lovecraftian stuff. I haven't jumped into the superhero game yet, but I am working on a top secret project that I'm about almost 18 pages in. So I'm always moving and shaking.
Awesome. Just before we get started, I want to say hi to everybody who's in the chat, guys. Thank you for being here for us tonight. This has been, I know this isn't my usual time, but you know what? It's always great to see you guys here. Andrew Davis is in the house. What's going on, my friend? What are we talking about today? We're talking about comics, my friend. We're talking about independent projects. You know, we are talking about toys, but we are going to be talking about comics a lot today. So I hope you're interested. I hope you enjoy that. Fran Capitan America, what's going on, my friend? Hello. Rhea Black. Always good to see you, Rhea. Thank you for being here tonight. Justin Mohan. Is this topic asking if Kickstarter was made for the indie arts project? This is just an overall arcing idea of what was Kickstarter and Indiegogo really made for. Of course, the answer is actually independent projects like these. So thank you for being here, Justin. Whitebeard Michael, what's going on, my friend? Nolan, always good to see you. Cowabunga dude, what's up? How are you going? Jason Woods, good to see you, my friend. Paul Morales, how are you doing, my brother? Frankie Rivera, let's go, brother. The Masked Figure Collector, all the way from the UK. Thank you so much for joining us, Masked Figure Collector. Always good to see you guys. And of course, everybody's going to keep rolling in as the time goes on. My usual time is about 2 hours from now, but that's okay. We're gonna keep rolling because it is the long weekend, everybody. At least here in Canada, Gilly, it's a long weekend in America, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
It is. Okay, so everybody's just chilling. We're doing our thing. The first book that I wanted to introduce is something very exciting, and you know what? It's been a while since I've seen something that like this. I think there have been other projects, but this one in particular really has caught my eye, and I wanted to highlight that today. The brand new project from Asylum Comics is Atrium. Guys, why don't you tell us a little bit about Atrium?
All right, go ahead, Steve.
All right, so Atrium is a 5-issue miniseries. It centers on two paramedics, Darnell and Naomi, who are tasked with delivering a donor heart to a very important patient. So, because of the nature of the mission, they're accompanied by a strike team that is tasked with protecting them, and then there are a group of assassins that want the heart to not be delivered. So, it's up to them to get it to the patient in time. But unfortunately, they're intercepted and have to then go into the subway systems. And then when the train gets derailed, they got to find their way out of the tunnels and get the heart to the hospital before it's too late.
Amazing. This is absolutely incredible. So now I know both of you, even though as talented as you are, you're not really illustrators, either of you. So you're working with a whole bunch of creatives on this one in particular. Did you want to highlight anybody specific for the team that was working on this?
The visuals are provided by Lucas Filappi. He's out of Brazil. Absolutely love what he's doing. He's knocked the script out of the park. And then the colors are provided by Nikos Koutsis and Mike Toris, who are out of Greece. And they actually work on Savage Dragon with Eric Larson. So they were all really excited about what's been put down on the page, and we really couldn't ask for more. It's been fantastic.
Absolutely. And it's how long have you guys been working on this particular project? Has this been in the work? Is this just a recent development, or have you guys been working on this for quite some time? Oh, here we go.
Well, it's been a long one, right? In one iteration or another. But this is the newest iteration in the last probably year and a half. We had something else before, but unfortunately that fell through. So we kind of had to restart a little bit, just a little bit through the pandemic. And we found Lucas, and we kind of reworked the idea into something that we could move forward at a better pace overall. You know how that's happened sometimes, right? So
Absolutely, 100%.
Mhm.
So you're the writer on this one, is that correct, Steve?
Yeah, co-writer.
Co-writer. Okay, and your other creator?
Peter Van Horne, and he and I usually work together on our scripts, and we have a few other ideas that are cooking right now. But Atrium's up first, and then we'll see what happens after this one.
Absolutely. So, how did you guys come up with this idea originally? And I know that Vaughn, you just said that it's gone through several iterations, but what was the original concept behind Atrium?
The original concept hasn't really changed that much. One of our other co-creators, Greg Parkin, kind of had an idea that was going to be, I guess, a short film.
Gregory who?
Gregory Parkin.
Gregory
Another name from the past.
Gregory who? You mean the person who said that he was going to be here and he's not here to talk about his own comic book? Are you talking about that Gregory Parkin?
Yes, one and the same. One and the same.
I'm just ribbing him, man. We love Greg,
sure.
but come on, Greg, where are you, man? Come
on. He'll just like every good hero, he'll come in just in time.
He will come in to save the day right at the end. Okay, no worries. I'm sorry. I just had to do that because honestly, we rely on this man to be here, and he's not here.
It's all good.
It's all good. He's got family. He's got family obligations,
man.
Just like the rest of us. You know what I mean? He's doing the right thing. Good on Greg.
Absolutely.
Sorry to interrupt you, Steve. Continue.
No worries. So it's been a long gestating project, and then when we figured out what we wanted to do and have the story kind of work, then we had trouble finding an artist that would kind of match what we wanted to do. And then just through the years, it just never got to a point where the creatives could kind of come together and agree on a direction for the story. But I think where we are now, it's actually stronger for all of the kind of like side roads and bumps and hiccups that we went through creatively. And we've had some really amazing feedback. So we've had some people who are in the film industry, even people that we have shown this book to, as Vaughn printed up a couple of sample copies.
Yeah, we did some sample copies for Fan Expo, and it was more just to kind of scout out for some cover work for issue 2 so that they could kind of see what we're producing so they know what they're getting into. And we've had some great feedback from some local artists, Mike Ruth, Andy Bellinger, a couple decently named guys, right? So we're looking at other opportunities right now, but it's coming along.
Absolutely. And I'm always, trying to find brand new projects, and I saw the Ashcan. For anybody who doesn't know, that's an old term for like a small preview book from back in the day. I was so excited to see that you guys had already gotten as far as an Ashcan. Now this is going to be your first project under the as far as I know, this is your first project under Comix Asylum. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we kind of pivoted the Comix Asylum brand that used to be news entertainment and pop culture entertainment, news and coverage, to which we already had long time planned, but it was like we finally made the transition. So we're going to be doing publishing, right? So Steve started a little bit earlier with some of his own books, but now Comix Asylum is going to be doing intellectual IPs that are kind of self-contained, and we're kind of going to take the model of more the British television kind of where it is. So it's not like never-ending projects. These are kind of isolated projects, one and dones, you know what I mean? Or at least chapter based, so that there's not, an endless cycle of, next week on, Dragon Ball, right? It's 6 self-contained issues. You get it as a book, that's done. We move on to another property. And if we feel like coming back to something 2-3 years later that we thought was a good IP that really resonated with people, we could come back. But we don't want to kind of dull it down, and it just makes more sense, I feel at least, and we feel at least, is just that self-contained projects right now work better as an IP, so that you can kind of convert them into other properties as well too. So whether a another TV production company comes along and says, you know what, I like that. I can turn that into a 2.5-hour movie or even a self-contained 6-episode series, right? And that's what we're kind of looking to create, things like that, where it becomes really, but also tell good stories, because I feel sometimes, a lot of the time, some of these stories they go on forever. They kind of dilute the product and you lose the initial vision of what the story was supposed to be. And it's like endless. Like, how old is Spider-Man right now? Like, not to harp on Marvel, but like it's never ending, right? So like there has to be some finality to certain things, I feel like, at least with some stories, right? So
No,
that's kind of how we envision what we're trying to do.
you know, I hear what you're coming from. I mean, like the Peter Parker is, virtually, 35 years old. I think that's the oldest he's ever gotten. He's never actually reached 40. And now they have the comic book industry has actually created this new technique called multiversing. So now we can have, like, 5-year-old Spider-Mans. You know, we can recreate any superhero at any timeline. And just reboot the stories over and over again. I said it multiple times that that's one of the weaknesses of Marvel and DC, the fact that they use their characters as crutches to continue this, to continually use them over and over and over again. There are no new stories being developed, and it's kind of sad, and then they get into this hole where they're turning their heroes into heels. You know what I mean? It's just this never ending problem that they seem to continue to have. Was that a problem you guys found yourselves as well? Like, is that one of the reasons why you don't want to go down that route? Because it seems like you're planning for the future of additional IPs and things along those lines.
To be honest with you, we just want to tell good stories. Try to stay away from having to reboot things. I just remember, like, I want to kind of recapture the kind of excitement that we had as kids, running to the corner store before it was your local comic shop, and picking up a whole bunch of titles and kind of have that kind of cliffhanger feeling at the end of every issue. You couldn't wait till next month, right? And there wasn't much eye rolling back in the day when something happened. It was, you were either enraged or you were sad for the character, but you were invested in another way, as opposed to like, oh, it's another number one, right? It's kind of that kind of storytelling that we want to do, and not really kind of have to rely on any kind of sales gimmickry or anything like that. So if you're invested in a character, you're invested in the growth of any character that we're creating.
That's wonderful. The campaign itself is running for how long?
So I think we got another 2 weeks left, and it's going along pretty well. We're getting some good feedback. I think we're about 35% of the way there. So we'll have a pretty big push in the next couple of weeks to kind of get us over the hump. But I'm confident that it's going to be, there's a lot of interest in terms of like, yeah, we're going to support you. This is our first time. So everything for us is kind of like a new step into the wilderness.
Sure.
But so far it's been pretty good. The feedback's been great. And I don't want to speak for Vaughn, but we're having a great time kind of promoting it and interacting with our audience when we do a social media post or something like that.
Yeah, Vaughn, you're on mute. You're muted.
Sorry, force of habit. Yeah, no, it's a great experience. I think it's an eye-opening experience as well too. You kind of learn stuff as you go along, especially on your first. I would suppose, like, you've had the same thing, Gilly, where you kind of see things and you're like, now knowing going into our next Kickstarter, I already know some things that I'd probably do different and pre-plan a little bit different, right? But overall, I think it's been a positive experience, and I mean, it's the first step in a long line of steps, right? So I'm all for it.
Yeah, we really just can't wait to get the book in people's hands.
Yeah,
and have the public kind of decide, right? When you're new, everyone's kind of like not quite sure what you're going to get, or even what you're about, or if you're going to be around 10 minutes later. But I can rest assured, anyone who is interested in Atrium, we'll be around for a long time. We got a lot of stories to tell, and you're going to enjoy what we have cooked up in these 5 issues.
So it is a 5-issue miniseries for the initial run.
Yeah.
But is that including with this particular Kickstarter? Are there going to be 5 issues for this one, or is it just the first issue and then you're just going to continue afterwards?
We're not quite sure exactly how we're going to kickstart the rest of it. Whether we'll do like a Kickstarter per issue, or maybe do 2 and 3 as a Kickstarter, and then 4 and 5 as a Kickstarter. We'll determine that based on what kind of feedback we get and when we kind of like, huddle and pre-plan for the next one. But we're definitely going to be doing another Kickstarter probably near the end of the year for the next issue. The next issue is already drawn. It's fully drawn, and we have the third issue thumbed out, so we're ready to go.
Excellent. And Gilly, what are your? Do you have any thoughts? Because this is a wonderful project. You've been down this road already, and pardon me. And then after Gilly puts in his thoughts, I'm going to ask about the different levels of pledges and if there are any stretch goals involved. Gilly, what are your thoughts?
I think just if you just look at a campaign, sometimes you can just know off the bat about a project. The artwork is stellar. It's pro quality, and a lot of times as an independent, you kind of want to show that you kind of know the field. As you can see, this team here knows comics. They want to recapture that excitement. Since back in the day, we all remember that, going to the spinner rack, getting the next adventure, and like they said, they're putting something together that serves as a blueprint for either a TV show or a movie. So what they have here, just on the premise and just on the artwork alone, it captures you. Like they said, they're learning as they go. They're trying to find the audience. They're trying to figure out how they're going to lay out their plans. But they have a strategy, which is good, and that's what you got to do. You just got to constantly promote. And they're in like every Kickstarter campaign. I don't care how prominent you are. There's always a dead zone. If you do a campaign for like 30 days, and you're kind of like in that 2-week window, there's like a dead zone where you feel like there's no movement coming. The stress hits you. And it's like, just roll with it. Just try to promote. And usually in the last week is where things start picking up. And like the last few days, a couple hours until you start seeing a spike. So overall, they have a solid product, and it's cool, man. I love seeing this. And it's funny you mentioned Spider-Man, and you there's a fatigue with a lot of the big 2 products that are going out. And me, as someone that grew up on that, you get to a point where it's like, okay, yeah, this has been done. How many times can you reinvent a Spider-Man story? How many times can you tell a Batman story? Then you start, it's almost like a lack of creativity where you're like, okay, we might need a new hero for this generation, or we might need a new this. And it's never that. It's just retooling like the same structure and the same formula. And it's hard because you have a dedicated fan base they see a superhero a certain way, and then you kind of like, just to reinvent the norm, you just throw something that wouldn't make sense. So the most important thing is the storytelling, which I like, and you'll see a lot of that passion in a lot of the indie projects. The problem is the risk. Okay, so we don't have the resources of like a big 2 where we could pump out a book every month or every 2 months. So sometimes you'll see a project like this, and it's a matter of, okay, it'll take certain time to get that book out. But then at the same time, you got to see the passion behind the storytelling. We just want to create these new stories. And in the age of streaming and everything that's going on, if we could find a little audience here, we could show that, hey, we're not afraid to take risks. Whereas you already see crowdfunding, you already see the toy industry is using crowdfunding as a safe model. These big companies, they have the financial resources to get stuff done. We're the little guys trying to build an audience and cultivate it within this big pond, right? With all these big fish. So I appreciate the struggle. And when I see stuff like Atrium, it's good, because if you guys take the time to check the underground, you will find a lot of stuff just out there. But you got to deep dive, because I'm sure if you go to Kickstarter right now, I don't think Atrium will be a highlighted project. There's algorithms that go into all this stuff too. So just being here, being with Mega J's channel and listening to the little guys and taking a look at some of this stuff, you see the clockwork, you see how the inner workings go with crowdfunding, even on an indie scale. And it's similar to toy scale, to the film scale. There's a lot of similarities.
So on that note, like pretty much, I've always seen this happen in many crowdsourced projects. There's going to be the spike at the beginning. Like, you're going to get all the support from your friends, your family, people who are really interested and invested in comics, because again, Kickstarter gives you that option, that little boost right at the beginning. And then there's going to be that period where, it flatlines. We see it everywhere. Hasbro's not immune to it. Mattel is not immune to it. Super 7 is not immune to it. They're all like, look at it right now. You can even look at the charts from Brian Brink that we've been looking up for over at Geek Dad Life and other toy tubers who've been paying attention, you can see that it's a big spike. Then it goes right. You could even hear there was like a sound come from Von's thing. It was like meep meep meep. Don't worry, Vaughn, we got you. But yeah, it was just like it literally flatlines for a while. But as we know, the last week of the campaign is where the dynamics change, right? That's what Gilly's talking about. And you've experienced it multiple times, isn't that right, Gilly? Like it happens all the time. So you sort of get used to it after a while, right? But as a first-time Kickstarter, it can be stressful. It can be stressful as hell. And that's probably what Steve and Vaughn are going through right now. They're like, you're kind of flatline, guys. What's going on? So I'm always happy to support not only my friends, but anybody with a small project that they're trying to get some attention to. And that's actually really important too. Your marketing is definitely needs to be on point. And getting on, interviews with other comic creators and other comic tubers, you know what I mean? These are very important, boosts that you can utilize to get some more eyeballs on your project. So, on that note, though, the Atrium Kickstarter has 16 days to go. They've reached about 1/3 of their goal, guys. Definitely give them a like and follow. Check out their Kickstarter. Steve, Vaughn, what can we expect, and what are the overall tiers and pledge goals? Sorry, pledge options that people have right now.
You want to take that, Vaughn?
Yeah. So right now we've kept it pretty basic right now. So what we're really offering is 3 different covers in regards to our tiers, right? But we've only done really just one cover artist. We have another alternate cover that we're waiting on right now. But these are the 3 options right now, plus the digital option as well too. And then we're going to look into there might be some announcements towards the end of this week. We're just kind of sourcing some stuff now, but there might be some new cover options coming towards the end of this week. We're just kind of waiting for confirmation for a number of artists because it's probably the worst time to try to get an artist right now. It seems back to school, family stuff, and whatnot going into the fall rush.
Con season. Don't forget
con season, right? So we're kind of getting everything, right? So a lot of guys are already pre-booked. So, but we're looking at some other options right now. These are the 3 immediate options that we have as cover options. And then we're looking at a couple other ones as well too, which hopefully we'll have announced by the end of this week.
We also do have something that's pretty cool where there's a pledge level a tier where if you support that one, you actually end up in the book. So you can be drawn into the book as well too as a character.
That's amazing. Which level is that?
I think that's the last one.
Okay,
it's really the very last one. Yeah.
Okay, so let's just go through these first, though. So, digital edition, you can pledge for $7 for the digital edition, which includes the cover artwork by Lucas Filappi. My apologies because I'm terrible with names. Lucas Filappi and Nikos Koutsis. 122 pages, and your name appears in the thank you section of the book. The $15 level, it's the print cover A. So it's this version of it's this version right here, covered by Lucas Filappi and Nikos Koutsis. And also it's also included. Your name is also included in the section of the comic. Tier 1 also includes the digital copy of Atrium 1, so you get the physical copy as well as the digital copy. And then print cover B is for the $15 level. Your name will appear in the book on the thank you, and of course. You do get the digital copy. And then print cover C is $25 level. Everything with the previous level, and then you get a special thank you, and also includes the digital Atrium. And finally, at the $50 level, or is it further? Actually, it is. Here it is. So let's just cover the $50 level. $50 level is everything above print issues of number 1, your name of the comic book, and the digital copy of number 1. But you also get the A, B, and C bundle. So you get all 3 physical copies along with all 3 digital copies. And finally, this is the one you're talking about, Steve and Vaughn.
Yes.
You want to talk a little bit about that? The drawn-in cameo at $150.
Yeah. So what's going to happen is if you support this pledge, then you'll just send a photo to Lucas, and Lucas will incorporate you into the story as some character, because we have a lot of characters in this story. Nurses, doctors, police officers, people in the crowd. So we'll make sure that you get a nice prominent shot, and then you can show your friends and family that you're part of the world of Atrium.
That's beautiful. So, and of course that will be in the final version of the book at $150 level.
Yeah,
Actually,
and it won't be in issue 1 because issue 1 is already locked, but it will be in a subsequent issue, either 2, 3, or 4, or 5.
I was about to say that because it's actually under a limited quantity, and there is one spot left. Actually, you have one spot left.
No,
So
we have 14 left, 14 or 15 left.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so there are 15
lots of them left.
That's right. So there are 15 spots left. So guys, if you want to be in an actual book, an actual comic book, this is your opportunity. Definitely check out that option. This is an amazing opportunity for anybody. Guys, they are now 23 backers, and about 1/3 of the way there. This is a great opportunity for you guys, and I really want to thank you guys for being here tonight. It's been great speaking to you about this new project. Guys, what are your thoughts on the future? Like, what are your plans for the other issues? Can you give us a glimpse or a tease as to what we can expect? Because this one seems to be very much a mission type of thing. What can we expect for the future issues?
This issue is kind of like a setup issue. You get introduced to all the players, and you get a taste of the world. And the way that we have it set up right now is that every issue ends almost like a cliffhanger. So it's almost like a serial. So this issue ends in a cliffhanger, and you're still not in the subway system yet. That's kind of like it's like a flash forward. Everything you're seeing after the crash at the beginning will be a flashback. And then once you're in the subway, issue 2 is all action. So it's a chase, gunfire. If you like, movies like The Transporter or Pelham 1, 2, 3, The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, anything with explosions and, pyrotechnics, issue 2 is great. And then you get a little bit of a psychological trapped in the tunnels kind of feel as you move into issues 3, 4, 5, and it kind of takes on a bit of a horror element. So lots of twists and turns. Don't fall in love with anybody, but it's one hell of a ride.
That's there. Don't fall in love with it right off the bat. Everyone is no one is an exception. No designated survivor. Everybody is ready. Get ready to die, everybody. I love it. Vaughn, what are the plans for the future for Massive and of course your end of the spectrum? How are you doing for everything going in the future?
Well, Massive is just kind of keep on building, but this is also kind of the secondary part of, building things out. Because like you said, we're all getting older, right? So the other thing is the publishing side of it. And I think with Steve as like co-publisher and with some of the IPs that we've come up with, I think there's a lot of leverage to do some things in Canadian comics that are a little bit different. Because right now there's a good market, but I think everybody's still publishing everything on their own, right? And nobody's really trying to bring people in underneath a banner, right? So I think they tried it, but it didn't work out so well. But I think there's opportunities there as well too, because we know a lot of Canadian guys that are publishing stuff on Kickstarter or whatnot, but also I think there's an opportunity to kind of build something here, right?
There's a lot of talent up here in Canada. Like the amount of artists, the amount of writers. You'd be surprised how many of your favorite creators are Canadian.
Come on, guys! One of the biggest publishers, and of course, one of the biggest influencers in comics is Canadian. I mean, Todd McFarlane. Come on, we can't forget about good old Todd.
I mean, Todd McFarlane, John Byrne. There's a whole list.
Alpha, Adrian Alfona. Come on, there are absolutely a lot of great creators up here, and those are the ones with the biggest names. The ones who have a higher following as well here on the indie scene, you guys would be surprised. And you know what? Open up your horizons. Take a look at all the wonderful creators.
Dave Finch, those guys up here.
Yeah, Carl Kerschel. There's a whole bunch.
And of course,
we could keep going.
Yeah, our good friend Ken Lashley. I mean, he's there too.
Absolutely.
We're gonna shout out that, and of course, a huge unknown, like a huge name who's coming up in the scene. So many different creators are coming up in the scene, and people who still have not made it, but are again, the sleeping giants, guys. Be careful of those. They are up and coming. And of course, I want to thank Vaughn and Steve for being here tonight, guys. You're welcome to stick around. Comment on Gilly's books and talk about everything that we're talking about. But of course, we all have lives, so if you have to duck out, we totally understand.
No, I can hang around.
Definitely.
Always great to talk comics.
Then let's keep going. Gilly, My friend, how are you? How things going in your neck of the woods? And of course, how's it going with the new Kickstarter project? Because I know that there were some issues with the last Kickstarter, and now you pivoted to this one, and this one seems like it's well on its way. So you know what? Actually, let's do it this way, Gilly. You have the most experience, a lot of experience in terms of this. What can Vaughn and Steve expect in the next couple of days, and for their next few projects? What advice can you give for not only these two young men, but what else can you expect for anybody else who's interested in starting their own independent project on Kickstarter? What do you say?
Pretty much, you have to be dedicated. You got to be focused, and don't be afraid to fail. Failure is the best learning tool. Bruce Lee said that. That's how you learn, right? Through failure. But there's a lot to it. If you got a passion for it, Kickstarter is a great platform to get started on any kind of indie project. I saw Wookiee Sasquatch had a comment. If you want to do a Kickstarter for something like an action figure or plastic something, how do you find someone who can mass produce them, get quote, plan how much your Kickstarter needs to raise? So I'll just say this. I got one comic book right now called Galactic Rodents of Mayhem. This one right here, if you just look at it, it's action figure fodder, okay? I grew up in the 90s, 80s, and I love Saturday morning cartoons. One big thing, again, you see a project has promise. I think the most important thing to do is build an audience. That takes a lot of time. But if you have an audience, if you show that there's people interested in backing you or supporting you, that's a good start. From there, if you look to dialogue with some toy companies, you'll find it's really expensive. But if you have an audience, it kind of helps. If you have the finances already, that kind of helps. So the first and most and foremost thing is to just keep at it. If you really dedicate about it, it's not for the faint of heart, but it's so rewarding. It's almost therapeutic. For Vaughn and Steve, what I just recommend you guys to do is it's a learning thing. Just take it as it comes and grow your little audience, the backers that you got right now that are backing your project. Be transparent through the campaign updates. Try to get some feedback from them. And just keep that going. Build up a page. If you got like an Atrium page, a social media handle page, where you could just direct people towards Atrium. And look, here's the thing. I know when it comes to financing something, I'm a fanboy, right? I'm a geek myself. I mean, there's so many things I love to support, right? Whether it's Marvel, DC, toys, video games, whatever. So when you're putting your money into an indie project, you don't know much about that project. Because sometimes you might not want to open the wallet right away. But don't ever underestimate the power of just sharing a project, just sharing it. Hey guys, this look cool. Check it out. Just that can open the doors and get it out there to so many people. Because Kickstarter, even putting it on Kickstarter doesn't mean anything. People have to find it. And I've had people that found some of my projects on Kickstarter doing a deep, deep, deep search. They went down in the mines. They had their little hat with the little light on, and they were looking and they found my project. It wasn't thrown out there. It wasn't, there's so many people launching projects at a time. So just keep the momentum. If it's something you're really passionate about, don't be afraid to ask questions, ask for help. And just stay positive and stay hopeful, because it's not easy. But like I said, I've been in it a couple years, and Vaughn and Steve been at it on different circles, but they're just bringing their expertise now into a comic. So there's a lot of time that goes into this and dedication. So if it's something you love, just keep at it. And you never know, you might get that spotlight you need. Something might happen where it's just like, you get what you get. But stay motivated and stay positive.
Absolutely. And you know what? Since Wookiee Sasquatch, it's pretty much a question for all of us. If you want to do a Kickstarter for something like an action figure or figure or plastic something, how would you find somebody who can mass produce them, get a quote, and plan how much your Kickstarter needs to raise? What were the steps that each of you guys had to come to formulate this whole idea? You've got artists, you've got writers, you've got people who are inkers, you've got guys who are supposed to be doing the lettering, but wink. Anyway, you got all these guys who are involved in the project. Like how do you guys spec that out? Gilly, first, we'll go with you first, and we'll talk. We'll ask because the economics in Canada are very different from the economics in the United States. So, Gilly, how do you go about that? Like you've actually gone through several artists throughout your run, haven't you?
Right. So again, it's just a working relationship. There's different ways to do this. I've learned in one of my campaigns, I was financing for matter of fact for Galactic Runners of Mayhem. When I just jumped into this campaign, I started a campaign for 100-page book. I only had like 3 or 4 pages done, and then COVID hit, so we got hit really bad. And then the artist on that project, he went through just something so tragic. He lost his daughter at birth. So
Okay.
he's not mentally in the mind frame to start churning out pages. So again, you're dealing with people. We all got lives. We all got stuff. But if you're really serious, you have to look at the game plan. If I think Atrium, it's a 5-issue miniseries. They already started. If I already heard them correctly, they're already on issue 3, right? So they're just trying to get an audience. So they probably set their goal low just to get something funded, and just to say, hey, we got something cool going on, and taking it from there. But again, it depends. There's so many different artists with a different type of style. You might be looking for a style that's a certain way. There's an artist that draws that. You might be looking for a black and white. Here's the thing. When it comes to comics, and this is about comics, one person draws, right? Then you have someone else that colors, right? And then you have someone else that applies the letters. You could find one that does all. That'll change on a page rate basis, right? You guys see a comic like, oh, it's probably not that expensive. If you just go buy a 30-page comic and that artist was, I don't know, $60 a page, $100 a page. If it's $100 a page, we're talking about $3,000 for a 30-page comic. We didn't even get into the colorist. What's his rate per page, right? So a lot of this, it's, at least in my case, I fund a lot out of my own pocket just to get things moving. And then whatever I can, it's like Hollywood, right? Hey, 20 million to make this movie, and then we put it out to the public. We made 80 million back. Wow, that's a success. Or you barely make even, like that's just the game. So it depends how you want to market it, how you want to push it, and what your game plan is. Do you want to launch a mini series? Do you want to launch one big fat graphic novel at once? I mean, there's so many metrics that come involved with toys. That's a whole other thing. A 3D sculptor that sculpts it, like, you know what I mean? There's like 3D modeler, right? Like how much their rate is. You're opening a can of worms that go a Pandora's box. But if you're really passionate, join forums, look on Reddit, like just search like how to start this, how to start that. Don't be afraid to ask questions, because there's a lot of people out online willing to help. And ignore the trolls and all the information you want. Look, that's positive. You also get some trolls out there that want to shoot you down. Ignore those and take on the positives again.
And if I can just add this, don't diminish the importance of social media. So if you can, go to X, I guess, former Twitter, Instagram, anything like that, a lot of artists are on there and you're able to communicate with them. So you can either jump into a chat or DM them or whatever, and you'd be surprised. They're very, very open in communicating with you. And if you're actually asking them, for work, there's a good chance they'll respond. Now they'll tell you they're too busy, or at least you'll be able to get their rates and availability. So yeah, don't be shy in reaching out, for sure.
And don't expect them to work for free, right? I mean, unless you know them really well. I know a lot of writers are going, hey, I got this cool idea. Can you just draw it out and maybe we could do something? No. You got to sound professional in each and every way. And like Steve put it so nicely, ask about their schedule, see if they're interested, and dialogue.
100%. I mean, like your creative team has experience too, Steve. I mean, like you talked about the colorists and your illustrators and stuff. Like I believe that you said earlier in the episode that one of them worked on the Savage Dragon. Is that actually?
It continues to has worked on it for the longest time, as far as I know, as far back as I know. So yeah, he's basically been the chief colorist for Eric Larson's Savage Dragon. So we have like, a really top-notch team. I would say like the writers are probably the greenest out of the team, but we've been writing in other mediums, whether it's been film or even creating our own stuff in the past. And like Peter has had some of his scripts go pretty far in some writing competitions and stuff. So there's a lot of, I guess, external validation and a lot of experience behind this team, and it's just now our job to get in front of the audience that doesn't know who we are, and bring them along for the ride.
Absolutely, and very exciting. Of course, the project itself is extremely exciting prospect to go through. So Gilly, getting back to your project actually. which is again, this is how many books is this now? You've done like 5 or 6 different books at this point, right? Like actually even more than that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I've ranged from a few different genres. I got Lair, which I did on Kickstarter, Pistolera, which is a Western, Under the Flesh, which is a post-apocalyptic, and then I jumped into like the sci-fi fun with the Galactic Rodents of Mayhem. And what we have here with the GAN-GON Saga, this is the first kind of spin-off. It was always a Galactic Rodents of Mayhem. We did a 4-issue run that was self-published through crowdfunding, and then we had our Volume 1 graphic novel. So we have the story focusing on GAN-GON. He's our gunslinger gecko father, and this story shows how he reluctantly assumes the role of capybara dad, and how his fates and the fates of the capybaras intertwined. There's a cool video there. I mean, if you want to play it, it explains it way better than I could. Even got someone to do the voice work there as well. But so it's just it's a love letter. It's a love letter to my childhood. You know, Saturday morning cartoons, video games, anime influences there. If you like Cowboy Bebop, you'll see a lot of influences there. And this story particularly is going to be black and white. It's kind of like my homage to like the Mirage TMNT in 1986. I wanted to do this kind of, I say spin-off, but it's like a spin back because it's a prequel to the moment GAN-GON becomes the father of the capybaras, our main capybaras, which will eventually become the Galactic Rodents of Mayhem. And so if you missed Galactic Rodents of Mayhem, in one of my tiers, I do offer a Volume 1 trade paperback. And the cover of that was designed by Aaron Hazuri. And if you guys don't know him, but he's worked on the TMNT cartoon line of NECA. He's worked on some of the box art. So I got him to do a cover for Galactic Rodents of Mayhem for the compilation trade paperback that we're offering. And in there, it tells the story. There's a cover right there. And in there, it tells the story of the Galactic Rodents of Mayhem and how just an interstellar bounty just sets everything in place. And they're trying to escape this interstellar bounty at the same time, figuring out that the person who placed this bounty has a dark connection with GAN-GON and his past. So it's a fun ride. I have fun making it. It's just a love letter in every sense of the word. And this is what I wanted to do with comics. I wanted to tell a story. I wanted to challenge myself to, because here's the thing, right? We know the Turtles been around. What's it, 30 years? Like, we know, you know, and there's been a ton of TMNT ripoffs. I wanted to do something that brought you that feeling of nostalgia, but in something fresh. You know, it's always hard to get into a new story, right? If you watch a TV show, it's always hard to jump into a new TV show. Do I want to get invested? Do I want to like go down this road? So my thing is to give you that feeling of nostalgia, but wrap it in a new package with this new, you know, universe. And, you know, it's hard to get out there because, again, you're competing with TMNT. You're competing with Marvel, with Disney, with Star Wars. You're competing with everybody. And I'm just little old Gilly with this comic. So it's hard to, you know, get the shockwaves out there to spurn the masses or to turn the masses. So it's hard. But again, it's I love this. So it's hard for me to stop. And the hope is I could eventually see these become action figures. Hopefully I can see it become a video game. I mean, that's the dream. It probably won't. I mean, I've been at it for 9 years. Maybe it won't happen now. Maybe it'll happen when I'm 65. Great. I mean, but it's a love letter. And this is what I do with making comics. Hopefully it could become something more.
Well, I mean, what you're saying is not untrue. I mean, look, right now, Invincible is freaking going through like a tear on what is it? Prime Video,
Amazon
right?
Prime, yeah.
And that thing's been around for 15 years at least. I think Steve Vaughn. If I remember being at Image Comics way back when, right? It's been at least 10 years. I know that for a fact, right? And again, sometimes the companies will what's it called? The studios will actually sign you to a retainer, right? They'll keep your book or your whole concept for like 2, 3, 4. You might not even see it by the time.
Yeah, they'll option the rights to it, and then nothing might happen in a couple of years. But yeah, that's kind of how it goes.
But when it finally happens, all of a sudden they got to call you in, right? They got to say, all right, you know what, here, sign this, right? Get this ready. You know, we want you on call for a consultation whenever it happens. Blah blah blah. I mean, you know, our good friend Adrian Alfona. You know, he's when they did. Somebody remind me now.
Runaways?
Yeah, Steve. I knew Steve was going to get it first. When they did Runaways, yeah, I was talking to Adrian. I'm like, so what happened? He's like, yeah, they called me in. They had me there for one day. Never heard from them again. You know what I mean? That's the kind of thing that happens with these bigger studios, right? And he, in so much that they just wanted to see what he was thought of, and just give his blessing or whatever. And they took it in a completely different direction, or what have you. But it's always that dream to get a miniseries or to get a pilot, right, and see where that goes, right? So it's very interesting. And as a matter of fact, I think Runaways actually had like 5 episodes or something like that, didn't it? Like it actually made a small splash.
Yeah, they had a short run. I'm not sure what network they were on, but I do know that they were around for a bit.
I think it was Hulu. I think Hulu was a Hulu original.
Yeah, I think it was before Hulu, but it's that same one. I think they went for 2 seasons, I think.
Oh, was it 2 seasons? Wow.
I think so.
Was it the same? Was it the same? Because did Hulu have Legion as well too? Because I think they were kind of
the same one. Oh,
X adjacent.
It's
kind
that
of
offshoot that was the Fox one, but it wasn't Fox. Like it's a Fox channel, but it wasn't like directly Fox.
No matter what, it did more episodes than Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah,
I mean, Wonder Woman was like one episode and boom, it was gone.
Yeah, pilot and that's it.
That was pretty much crazy. So yeah, that's it's always good. And Hulu's not the biggest player in the game, but I mean, like that's still a substantial thing. So again, one day they might option this one, whether it's Atrium or whether it's GAN-GON or Galactic Rodents of the Galaxy. These are wonderful properties that may one day see a Ninja Turtle kind of type of magic moment. You never know. And Ninja Turtle is just that property that refuses to die. It just keeps going and back and back. It's absolutely crazy, but I love it. Right? It's just it's a generational thing. It just will not disappear.
Watching it with my son, I'm watching the 2012 series with him, and it's just fun just to see how he reacts. And that's the magic, I think, when it's done right. In our case, with Atrium and Galactic Ruins of Mayhem, the GAN-GON Saga, what have you, it's hard because again, to get to that point, you have to have something interesting. But again, we're in an age right now where we want to bank on a sure thing. So if we do a reboot or if we like sign a Netflix show, it's on stuff that already has a major baked in audience. If you look like Resident Evil was a popular video game, and I think they had a couple iterations, one on Netflix, and they had a movie. It's because it sold so many million copies. So even Ryan Reynolds, he has his Mint Mobile phone. Ryan Reynolds also has a film production company, and I found out recently that his production company got the rights to Biker Mice of Mars.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so that's cool. So it's like I'm coming out with something really cool. I mean, how can I compete with Biker Mice of Mars, right? Like, or how do I get to that point where I can pitch this to Ryan Reynolds? Like, it's very hard. It's such a hard window, but I think that's why we just got to keep on going and hope through a connection, through going to a con, going through something where you meet someone, they're like, wow, these guys, they've been going at it for a couple of years. They built a steady audience, and it has mainstream appeal. Yeah, we can do something. So it's just showing that you're marketable, even though it looks like nothing's going on. Don't lose hope, and just again, I do this because I find it like therapy for me. I'm sure Steve and Vaughn could relate when you get a new page of Atrium where you get like the artist send you the new page and you look at it. It's just like, it just does something. It's I don't know, for me anyway, it's such a good feeling. It's like, oh man, it's like now you want to share this with someone. And that's our thing. We want to share this, but it's hard because again, you're competing with so many. It's like the market is so oversaturated. And I think it's like good and bad because again, you miss out on a lot of hidden gems. This is even with video games. If you go into indie video games, there's so many crazy, great looking games that will just pass over your nose. But most of the stuff is the Call of Duty, all the mainstream stuff. It's like, okay, and you miss a lot of these hidden gems. It happens in video games. It happens in the indie scene with comics. So it's just get in the trenches and just fight and just share your word and just be genuine out there, and hopefully people could support your stuff. And if you have a buddy like Mega J who's an influencer with toys and he can share your you can share your project to his audience, that's awesome. Because Mega J, again, I appreciate that. You don't understand How do you laughing, man? You don't understand.
You
like,
guys are talking about somebody else. Like seriously, what the
No,
Yeah,
you
we all
don't,
do.
you don't understand, man. Like I've
Really,
tried.
really spitting facts, man. Pure facts.
No, yeah, I've tried on the comic side of things, trying to reach high influencers, and they're just interested in mainstream stuff. That's it. As cool as your book, like that's, and I've tried. Maybe if I tried, sunk money into super chats. I've tried organically. I tried. So it's hard to promote your stuff. So when you open up your platform, your channel, I appreciate that. It means so much, and I mean, it's part of the sharing that helps spotlight something good, and maybe something can happen. So thank you for doing that. Because
you guys never have to thank me or any of us. You know, what we see. The important thing about what we're doing here is we see something which is special. You know what I mean? Like even if I didn't know Vaughn and Steve, you know, I know them from time, right? But even if I didn't know them, if I'd seen Atrium and I was handed that ash can, trust me, like, you know, our good friend Hugh Rookwood, who's another wonderful artist, you know, he was at Fan Expo this past weekend. You know, caught up a little bit, and he said, "Hey, do you know what Stephen Vaughn do?" I'm like, "No, what are they doing?" And he handed me this ash can. I'm like, "What? Since when? Why didn't they, like, you know, I want to talk about this, right?" So, you know, and then, you know, I reached out to Steve. He's like, "All right, where's your booth?" I'm like, "I don't have a booth. What are you talking about?" Right? And he said, "I'm here Friday." I'm like, the one day I'm not there, these two guys are there, and I wanted to get them on camera. I wanted to talk a lot about this little thing. So I said, "Screw it. Let me talk to Greg," because Greg was actually with me, right? And he's like, "Yeah, I'll get you with these guys." I'm like, "Okay, we'll all go together." And guess what? Greg's not here. What the hell, Greg?
But he did it. You know what though? He still did his job because he connected us to be on this show right now. So it all works out.
I'm just ribbing him because, you know, we all love Greg, and this is typical of Greg. Like, we wanted him to be here. He's not here, but that's okay. He did his job, which is exactly what Steve said. You know, Greg,
if I could just mention one thing, and Gilly, I'm sure you'll agree with this because Vaughn and I talk about this all the time, is that when you're an indie like creator, and Jay, like I do actually draw, so like I do actually illustrate now. When you have to wear so many hats, it almost diminishes your ability to do the things that you need creating the book, like post creating the book, like effectively. So if you're writing and then you're doing promotion and then you're doing a podcast and then you have a family, something's got to give. And it's a tough juggling act for sure.
It's almost impossible. I work 2 jobs. I got 2 kids. One is gonna be 2. Oh, you gotta think about it. One is 5.
Bro, how you sleeping? How you sleeping?
And then the whole so, you know, crowdfunding, creating stuff, right? Creating stuff, and then the promoting stuff. Dude. I'm gonna have to retire soon. I might just stick with just one book for a while. I don't know. It's tough. It's rough, but we do it because we love it. We love stories.
Absolutely.
We want to tell good stories, so that's what keeps us going. But it's hard.
It is hard, but fun.
absolutely.
Definitely rewarding.
And you know what, Steve, I knew you drew, but I didn't want to like, you know, lose the vibe. I mean, like, come on, like, I didn't want to overshadow.
Here's the thing though, like I do draw, but I've been writing more so, and now that I've had more time to kind of work on the craft, you know, I've taken it upon myself to do that kind of stuff. But the cool thing about it is, especially when you can draw and write at the same time, and then you see what your artist then puts in front of you, it's like, I didn't even see it that way, but you killed it.
Absolutely, 100%. And you know, we all contribute things to projects that we're passionate about. And you know, right now this one is definitely taking priority for Comix Asylum, and of course the team here at Atrium. Gilly, so for your project in particular, what can we expect? This is a prequel, is that correct?
Yeah, it's a spin back, right? Another spin off, right? Still call it a spin back, but it's a prequel to when GAN-GON, our father figure, actually how he intertwines with the capybaras, Bash, Ripple, and Mona Lisa. From the moment he gets them, they got one little cool mission together, and it's just setting up kind of again, of course, in a perfect world, if I had that disposable income, it would be to have the prequel, kind of this little spin back, become its own thing, where you see him on all these crazy missions and how he trained them to be the capable bounty hunters that they are, when you read the Galactic Runners of Mayhem, because in Galactic Runners of Mayhem, they're all grown. So here is the moment he meets them as kids, and just what happens and how he takes on the role of fatherhood, of being a father. So I guess also that I'm a dad of two, I kind of poured a lot of that into this in a way, now that I'm thinking about it. So there's a lot there with this story. It's again, it's what I love as a kid, watching, you know, a great cartoon or going into a movie and catching something that just hits you. Like, I always wanted to just create stories and just get that rise out of people that enjoyed it, you know, or maybe didn't like it, or maybe have a character that they hated about it. So this is just more fleshing out the universe. Galactic Runners of Mayhem, as much as I'd love to keep that going, I'm gonna put that on pause, and I'm starting to like kind of craft these little spin-offs, so to speak. So I have this one featuring GAN-GON, and then I have another one after this, which will be centered around an anthropomorphic ninja frog, a cyber ninja frog called Duo. His name will be Duo. And that one, interestingly enough, is the person who backed our first campaign. How Atrium has on their campaign like a cameo, you could get featured in a book. I ridiculously put something for $1,000. I didn't think anyone would have backed it. And it was like, your character will be a mainstay character. That's how I worded it, in the Grom universe. And someone, sure enough, put $1,000 on it. So I got to work creating a script, and that spinoff around that character will be coming out after GAN-GON. So it's just fleshing the universe of Grom, so to speak. And then hopefully we'll get back into Grom when we have a better flow, and we can keep out the future Grom stories running at a faster clip.
Steve, Vaughn, you undercut yourselves, guys. Holy crap! You gotta put that $1,000 tier up, man. That's
a lot
I
of
didn't think that was
characters.
gonna
We're
hit.
doing it to save Lucas. We've got a lot of characters in the book, so we don't want to burn them out.
I'm just saying, if you have the recurring character who comes up, you know, the sage, you know, who just shows up every now and then for $1,000, I mean, come on. I mean,
I threw it a shot in the dark. I didn't think anyone would take it. Someone backed it, and they're like, they wanted to do this frog character. We got to talking, you know, so it's going to happen. But again, sometimes you got to shoot like that. And
the community itself is not only generous, but they're also rabid. Right, I've noticed that the real fans, right, whether they be toy fans or comic book fans, they are rabid, right? They want to be involved. They want to give feedback. They want to, you know, for good or for bad. You got some trolls out there. You got some guys who are, you know, oh, Spider-Man's not supposed to be thin. He's supposed to be big and bulky, and you know, like there's going to be, you know, the what are they called, the script keepers, the storyteller, the ones who want to keep everything in a certain box, right? But you know, then you got the guys who are like, they just want to support comics for what comics are, and of course, as you said, they want to support, but also want to be in the book. Steve, man, just put a $10,000 tier. Like, see what happens. You never know.
No, because like you said, some people really resonate with that. Like maybe just for some reason, the Galactic Runners of Mayhem just hit something in them. And they're like, and they wanted to support. So you will get loyal backers like that. I have a few on my campaigns that I've noticed every time I back something, they always return. So here's a good thing about Kickstarter. The bad thing is that, again, you put your stuff out there. They don't really have a platform that really spotlights a lot of the indie books, and the Kickstarter choice or Kickstarter pick. I mean, I don't even know. I mean, I've never had a Kickstarter pick. I think maybe one campaign I had, it was one of the Lovecraftian horror stories I had, where it was a Kickstarter pick of the week or something like that. So it's so hard to get noticed. But again, when you have those people that back your stuff and you see them backing your stuff, I also noticed that every time I do like a Grom book, when I was bringing it out chapter wise, I've noticed like always I'd get a few new backers. You'd see some returning backers. If they didn't go to the second campaign, they would go to the last campaign that featured everything. So you kind of see these patterns here or there, and I appreciate those people that go all in and are willing to pay $300 for an original art page by Sebastian, who does this work. Like, I don't have that kind of money where I could just say $300 for original art page, but I appreciate that some of my backers did and supported my book in that way. And they have that, and they're going to frame it up in their wall or whatever. Like that, I don't know. That's, for me, that's big. That's deep. I'm like, wow. So stuff like that is what I love about crowdfunding. And when you do get your audience and they can support in that way, it's just, again, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Absolutely. It's one of a kind. So, Gilly, you have you actually have reached your goal on this particular project. Is that correct?
Yeah, so here's the thing. Now we're talking about getting traction and trying to. So this project, I had the artwork done 100% way beforehand. I financed it way beforehand. Okay. So I'm thinking when I launch the campaign goal, I mean, of course, I want to cover the finances that costs to print it, and if I could make the money back I put into it, would be great. So I started with a very small goal. I think I put my goal at $500, and my reasoning behind it was, okay, it's a new campaign that'll be launched. If I could fund it within the day, hopefully that ticks off an algorithm like, oh, recently discovered or new projects, like it would just show like a fund, that it funded. I would hope that would kick into some algorithm that would push it and into the traffic of main people who just log into Kickstarter. So again, most of the people that backed it were returning backers, maybe have like 4 or 5 that were new backers. So a lot of it was most of my same backers. So I didn't get that initial algorithm push that I thought, but this is just experimenting, but with doing such a low goal to see if it hits an algorithm and it ticks it, and then you just feature it as a project that funded and it just circulates. But it's so hard to just figure out how the heck Kickstarter works in that way. And promotion wise, you can put an ad on Facebook, you put an ad on Instagram. It's so hard. It's like it has to be consistent, it has to be habitual, and even with promoting, like just the ads, like you got to put money into just putting the ads out there too. So there's a lot, man. I'm just telling you. I wouldn't recommend. I tell this to people. I wouldn't recommend crowdfunding to my worst enemy, because it's so, the pressure that goes on to the stress. It's unbelievable. It really has to be something that you love to do. I never went in with the thought like I'm gonna get rich quick. I got in with like, it's cool that people are helping me support my work, and hopefully that could lead into a paying job with like a DC or something where they're like, okay, this guy, never heard of him, but he's been putting out some good stuff. Let's give him a chance with one of our C-list superheroes, and maybe that can get a job opportunity. And there you can get more of the audience, because of the main audience in comic books is Marvel and DC, Image, Dark Horse. It's that what takes everything. So it's hard to get published with them, and it's hard to even, I don't know, like impress them. I don't know. It's hard, man. It's hard. It's like I don't know. It's hard. That's still a dream. Like I said, maybe if I'm 70 and I can write my first issue with Marvel, I'll consider that a W.
Hey, Gilly, in regards to that, have you done, is it only Kickstarter that you've done? Just for our knowledge, because like we're still green in this whole process, right? So we've been kind of scouting out a couple of the other ones, and I know some of the other platforms come with their own stigmas and stuff like that. And
they definitely do. But if you're about storytelling, put it out there so people can find your book. If just to try to reach as much. I've used Kickstarter, I've used Indiegogo, I've used them both. And I know there's another one. I can't think of it. Is it with a Zoom? Zoop?
Zoop, yeah, Zoop exists as well too. I think there's also Fund My Comics, so that might be.
Fund My Comics is also a new one, so I haven't checked that one out yet. But Zoop, it was supposed to be crowdfunding just for comics, and I like that because people are just looking for new comic book properties. But to get your campaign on there, it's not open beta where anyone can just put their campaign. It's kind of pre-selected. So a lot of artists that have a name, or a lot of writers that are kind of connected already, are kind of spearheading this whole Zoop thing. Although some other campaigns do get featured, but I put Galactic Runners of Mayhem to try to get a bump, to try to get a push. It never got accepted. So, and if you look at if you look at the quality of this comic book, I mean, the cover art is great, but the interior art, matches up.
Yes,
This is top duty stuff we're playing with. But again, I'm trying to get the audience, right? Okay, Mega J, just one quick shot, right? Just because I didn't know you were doing the whole thing right there, right? So it's top quality work. And again, we're no one's in the industry if you want to go by that, but you wouldn't guess that if you see this like next to like Spawn or something. Like it looks like it could, it could match up, So again, with Zoop, I was hoping just again traction. You're looking for any kind of campaign, any kind of crowdfunding platform to get out there. So there's some stigmas. It just happens. It is. But as people know you as creators, and I'm just trying to get my book to anybody that would be open to reading it. So I'll put it anywhere, man. If you guys open up a crowdfunding platform, let me know. Mega J, you're doing something. I'm throwing it on anywhere so people can find my stuff, because again, it's hard to just find, you know, this stuff. So that could be another way for financing your book. Maybe you know, or how you do your launch. Maybe the single issues could be on Kickstarter. Maybe the collected books could be on Indiegogo. You know what I mean? So we just got to get out there, try every which way, you know.
Absolutely, 100%. Oh, what the hell? One other thing I wanted to ask, since this has been a big thing for, like, because as you know, Gilly, I've been trying to help out Travis, who was really green on the Kickstarter model, right? I kept telling him, at least with the toy type of thing, right? He's doing display options for toys and stuff. I was like, you got to do a video, right? Because again, his is very specific, right? Because he stacks all these things up. You can't even see this. You can't even see the stack system, because they're all standing on the stacks, right? So I was like, you gotta do a video, because if you show a video where somebody's stacking these things up and how they connect with magnets, that's how people visually they understand that.
Be
right?
all over that.
Yeah. Have you noticed, because when you first started this whole idea, you didn't have a video initially, but eventually you put one up. Have you noticed that the video gives you a bit of an edge, or is it something that doesn't really help at all? With comics, like what's your experience with that? Because it looks like somebody put together some motion graphics for you and stuff like that, or did you actually put all that together?
I actually had someone that I work with put that together and had them do a voiceover. I mean, if you guys go on and play, it's going to sound really cool. But again, for me, comics, even though with its static images and a picture is worth 1,000 words, so imagine, you know, how much word you see in a comic book panel, right? A comic book page, so many panels, but it's a blueprint. It's a visual blueprint. You know, I mean, Marvel movies, right? They started as comic books, right? So if you're going to do a campaign, I feel like it just helps to just sell your stuff to have a video for it. I've done the videos where I'm the one talking. I'm not interesting. Who wants to see my face? You just want to see the art, you know. So and again, since a part of me is visual and I love movies, so I'm like, let me make it as like a little movie trailer. You know what I mean? And I'll just use the images, and just that's how I'll sell it. I've hired people to do soundtracks, like if you go to one of my old Grom campaigns, we have a Saturday morning cartoon theme song, for Christ's sake. You know, like I'm tapping into all that to put it out there and to sell it. So for Atrium, I see it as like, it's a kind of like action oriented. I mean, you can cook up a trailer. And if you're not good at that, sure. And just and then if you guys don't want to get on, you know, just do that. And just it would be, I don't mean to sound harsh, but it would be stupid not to have a video. I would rather just have it, even if it's not a great one, but just something that talks about why you interested about the book, or just that sells the work itself. And again, that's pressure. I know some people are like, I ain't trying to do a video. I get it, but for me, it helps, and it's worth going the extra mile to put out a video. A lot of people are visual anyway. You know, they want to see something.
Which campaign was it that had the theme song? I'm curious.
I could drop you the link.
Yeah, there's Galactic Rulers of Mayhem 1 through 4.
Yeah,
Comic Book Season 1.
Yeah, you know what? Let me try to find.
I'd love to hear the theme. Now I'm curious. I'm curious to hear this theme song. I'm literally curious now to hear his theme song. I would love to tell me which one it is. If it's Galactic Rollers of Mayhem Comic Book Season 1, or I'm just gonna click on something, see what happens. You know? I'm just curious. Okay, there's nothing on this one. So let me try the other one. I just want to hear this theme song now. I'm just like, you got a theme song? Oh no, you got it at the bottom. Okay, this is where you're talking. Is that the one?
Okay, here we go. I got one. So I have two different ones, but this is one that's just, you're gonna hear the music. I'm gonna plop it into your link there.
Yeah, give me the chat. Give me the chat.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
I have an updated one that has like some visual imagery and like the bouncing Grom logo that goes with like the subtitles of the work, because it reminded me of some Disney sing-alongs as a kid. So I can't find that link right now, but that's the closest one I could find. That should be where you can at least hear the music, and just you could feel the energy.
All right, let's have a look. Let's have a look at this one, everybody. Let's have a look at this one. But wait a second. Okay, I don't think YouTube is going to work that way. Give me 1 second. I'll download. But is this the one where you can?
It's the theme song.
Okay, the theme song.
You're gonna hear it. Like you'll hear it. You could just pictured as a as a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah. All right, let me grab that. So here it comes. I'm just gonna put it up for everybody so we can hear this awesome theme song. All right, so let me take a look at this. All right, hey, stop it. No, that's not how it works. Come here. I want you to open up the. There we go. Okay, and then I want to. Give me 1 second. All right, I got it now. So here, check this out, everybody. Let's enjoy this this little trailer from Gilly Writes Comics. Let's have a look at this, guys. I'm excited. Let's find out what this is about. Okay, that was that was crazy. Holy crap! You actually paid somebody to actually put that song together, Gilly.
Yeah, so I wrote the song, like I had it out in my head. I wrote the lyrics out, and I found this great guy, Zalin Talis, and he was doing some stuff at the time, and I sent it to him. I was like, dude, I want it to sound like a 90s cartoon theme song. He came back with that. When I first heard it, I had tears coming down my eyes. I'm like, this was just so good. And a little side note, I think it's Marv Wasserman. Ron Wasserman, the guy who did the 90s. The X-Men theme song.
The X-Men theme song.
I was on a stream with him, and I got him to listen to it. He absolutely loved it. So again, man, I would love to just see that as a cartoon or as an action figure toy line. Like, that's my dream. So again, I got to build up the audience to show that we, you know what I mean, or someone that sees the potential in it, wants to buy in or something. I would, to get it out there, because it sells. I couldn't do too many cons yet, just because with the family and the jobs and everything. But the time I did go out to a convention, I had the poster up and I had everything. Galactic bonus, like, what the heck is? They're all laughing, like, because it sells itself. And once you know how cool a capybara is, I don't know if you guys know what a capybara is. I never knew what a capybara was, but Sebastian, we had worked together on a horror book called Lair. It was really dark, and we're like, well, let's do something fun. I want to do something that was like TMNT, because I just love that. I'm like, let's do something like that. I'm like, what animal we're gonna do? He's like, let's do capybaras. I'm like, cappy what? I don't know what a capybara was. And the moment I Googled it, and he told me, this is what he told me that sold me. He said they're the most chill animal in the universe. He said they get along with crocodiles. When he said that, and I Googled it, and I saw an image of a capybara with like a ton of crocodiles, and they don't see him as a sandwich, they see him as respect. Like, it just came out of me. And I got started writing the script. I started coming up with the characters: Bash, Ripple, Mona Lisa, and it flowed. So that's what it does. And it's not a TMNT ripoff, but I pay big homage to TMNT in there. But when you read it, it's its own thing, and that's what I love. That it's its own thing, and the characters are great and lovable, and it has their story. So let's see, man.
Yeah, that's crazy. So what kind of pledge opportunities do people have for this particular book, Gilly?
So for this one, they could either get the GAN-GON Saga with the original cover, or they can get a tier with 2 covers, right? Because some people that are comic creators, they'll just, they want a variant cover. So I haven't gone crazy with the variant cover options. I know there's some campaigns over like 6 or 7. I'm just not there. But again, I offer you the second one. You could do the bundle with the 2 variant covers. And then I'm offering the trade paperback to Galactic Rodents of Mayhem. So if you missed Galactic Rodents of Mayhem, you have an option to get the GAN-GON Saga bundle with the 2 covers and the Galactic Rodents of Mayhem trade paperback that has the cover art done by the TMNT NECA artist. So those are the options we have now. I kept it simple. I know you can go crazy. I'm like, man, here's a book. This is what you got. And if you have digital options, then if you want physical copy options, you have that. But yeah, I haven't went too crazy with getting your character featured in the book, only because this one was already done yet. And I don't know if I'm going to keep this going as its own thing. But I'm happy in that the way it ends, it's a perfect micro series. It's like a perfect standalone book just in itself. It's awesome. But again, I already have where you can just do different episodes. It's almost like a Saturday morning cartoon, right? Like you just have like different crap going on that uncovers different stuff in the universe.
So
yeah.
Gilly, why don't you go through these actual pledges themselves? So at the $15 pledge, what do we get?
That's a digital copy, a high-res PDF of the GAN-GON book.
Okay, and it's got this cover here.
That's digital. That's okay. The main cover.
And at $20?
At $20, you get a physical copy of the GAN-GON Saga, over 30 pages, and black and white, and it's going to look great in your hands. It's going to be it's just going to make you get those good feelings. At least for me, it will. So, yeah, $20 gets you that, and then you have the $35 bundle gets you 2 covers. So you have the main cover, which is done by on the left. That's done by the main artist on this saga. It's David Batista. And then on the right, we have a guest artist. He's a ghost artist, A.K. Addison. He did an amazing cover. Yeah, where you see like the villain they face in that issue. It's a wildebeest. So yeah, those 2 covers. You get those 2 copies. And then I don't think maybe at $60, I think I put it, is where you get the yeah, under that. Yeah. Keep on scrolling down. Yeah, that's a digital where you get GAN-GON and the Volume 1 trade paperback digitally. So you're going to have over 135 pages of GROM work. Those are going to be PDFs. But the idea is below that, you'll have a bundle which comes with the 2 covers. Yeah, all those are physical copies. That's $60. So you have 2 GAN-GON books, right? 2 different covers. And then you're going to have a 110-page trade paperback of Galactic Rodents of Mayhem with this exclusive cover, which is done by the NECA artist, Aaron Hazuri, who's done some cool TMNT box art for the NECA Toon line. And that's pretty much it, I think. Yeah.
That's awesome. So these particular covers were done by the NECA artist who did the Toon line stuff?
Yeah, the one all the way to the right. Yeah. Aaron Hazuri, he did the box art to the NECA Toon line. I got him to do the cover where you see all the characters on there from GROM. So I thought that was cool.
So he did this stuff there.
Yeah, the NECA box art. Yep.
That's freaking crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I thought this was a still from the cartoon, to be honest with you. I thought that this was actually one of those videotape covers, right? So
I love the cover.
It's a small community, right? It's a really small community, and you can hire certain individuals, like who have done amazing work, in the past, and it's actually really great. Which is awesome. So Gilly, what can people expect, and how can people actually support this project?
Yeah, guys, just if you check out the Kickstarter, the link that Jay has there, the GAN-GON Saga on Kickstarter, you'll get the spin back story, and you'll get, if you guys want, you'll get the Volume 1 of the Galactic Rodents of Mayhem, and that's where the capybaras find themselves on the interstellar bounty placed on their heads. They don't know from who, from where, but it stems to the dark past featuring GAN-GON. So it's an amazing. The comic is very high octane. It moves at a really fast pace, and the art is insane. And the story, it's deep. I want to say it's deep. I took a big risk in that story. I don't want to spoil it, but sometimes as a writer, and Steve and Vaughn, you guys can relate with, sometimes you write something and it hits you a certain way. And again, you're talking about playing with characters. Don't get too attached to these characters. I made the mistake of getting attached to one of these characters. And yeah, I made a decision there that I thought needed to be done. So it hits hard. This comic hits hard. But it's a good thing. It's fun. So guys, if you check it out on Kickstarter, you could support. Great. If you could share it out, great. If you don't care about comics and all you care about is toys, tell me if you look at the artwork here that none of them make good action figures. You cannot make that case against me. I dare you to make that case against me. I got some crazy art. I got Sniper Vipers in that book, okay? No one came out with Sniper Vipers, okay? it has everything you need to be a toy line, to be a video game, to be a franchise, except the audience, and that's what I'm working on. But the art is there, the heart is there, the passion is there. And guys, for checking out Mega J, for checking us out. Thank you for staying this long. Thank you for hearing us out. And thank you for supporting the indie works. If you do, or if not, share it out. That is more than enough.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you, Gilly. Thank you, everybody here. Of course, as Gilly's mentioned, for checking these out. I mean, these are amazing projects. I have the links for both projects in the description below, so please check these both out. Give them a like and a follow, and of course, give them some support on these particular projects, because they do need your support right now. Yeah, so guys, this has been an amazing afternoon. Going to keep talking a little bit about some additional toy projects that have come across my desk. Again, everyone's welcome to stay and like bash these things to hell. So we're gonna have some fun along these. I'm just joking, but yeah, we're gonna have some fun about the toy section now. But I did want to say thank you to I did want to give a shout out to everybody else who just joined us. The Mass Figure Collector, good to see you, my friend. Grand 460, how's it going, brother? Yes, happy long weekend to you too. Gwildor, hello, Gwildor. Welcome to the show. Thank you, Gwildor.
I remember Gwildor.
I love Gwildor too. Ryan Lay, what did you miss? You haven't missed much, brother. We're talking about comics, and of course, you came in around the 6:05 mark, so you've learned a lot about some of these great creators who are on the screen right now. Robert's Infinite Realms, what's going on, my friend? How you doing tonight? The right hand of Skeletor. Good to see you, Skeletor. Right hand of Skeletor. Don't know what he does with his right hand, but anyway, we're gonna move past that. Wookie Sasquatch, thank you for that wonderful question. It was amazing. Ostradamus Toys, good to see you, Oz. How you doing, brother? Paul Morales, good to see you, my friend. RoboGeek 1973, what's going on, my friend? Dave Sinelli, didn't miss too much. Starting to feel like Rodney Dangerfield at the end of Easy Money. No respect at all. Michael Clark, what's going on, brother? Looks neat, but not really my bag. That's okay. There, you can check out Atrium. You can check out Galactic Rodents Mayhem. There's got to be something you're interested in, Michael. Let's see here. Great theme. Yeah, it was an amazing theme.
Thank you.
That was so Wookie Sasquatch. Wow, that's catchy. It really was. Yeah, and if you guys want to catch it again, I did put the link in the description. You guys can take a look at this particular link for the Galactic Rodents of Mayhem intro song. Dave said, Capybara's favorite food is green anacondas. Get out of town.
That's why they got the Sniper Vipers right here. The main one of the main adversaries. You know, we had to feature some snakes in there.
Oh my God, you're kidding me, man. That's very funny, Dave. That's hilarious. Master Versal Toy Hunter, good to see you, Eldor. How you doing tonight? And Wookie Sasquatch, watching these guys and getting inspired. Yes, thank you, Wookie Sasquatch. It is very inspiring watching these wonderful creators do their thing. And thank you guys again for joining us today. It's been inspiring. It has been inspiring. It really has. So, guys, on the toy front for not so much independent this time around, though. We did have an independent toy company, Spiro Toys, last night, but I did want to check up on a few other projects which are timing out, if you will, for their own crowdsourced projects, and of course. I always bring up this question multiple times over. Is this something that they should even be involved with? But let's have a look at these and see, and talk about these. Just since we have everybody here right now.
So James, unfortunately, I got to run. But thank you again for taking the time today and having us on.
Of course.
Right. So
Ron, one more time. How can people reach you? And if they need some services for graphic design or web work,
you can always find me at Vaughn at Massive Web Design or massivewebdesign.ca for any graphics and web design. Or if you want to go to Comix Asylum on Instagram, and also comixasylum.com. We'll have the Kickstarter as well too. So you can always find me there. One of us at least, right? So you can always reach out there. But thanks again for having me on and supporting us. All right.
Absolutely, brother. So guys, wrong one. So guys, definitely check out Massive Web Design. Their website is being updated as they speak because, of course, they did move. Congratulations again, Vaughn, for the move, and of course, your big, I guess, reboot. You know, your launch.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a great. So, guys, huge thanks to Vaughn Joseph for coming on. Of course, check out Massive Web Design and, of course, Massive Publishing. Thank you so much, Vaughn. We'll catch
thanks,
you.
man. All the best, brother.
Take it easy, brother.
Take care.
Later, Vaughn.
All right. So Vaughn is, of course, he's got family, man. We all got family. I'm surprised Steve's still sticking around. Like
it's all about family.
We all got family, brother. We all got family. Steve, you're welcome to stick around.
I can give you another 10 minutes or so, and then I want to check out some of these toys.
Yeah, I'm with Steve here.
Let's do this, everybody. This is where we get to criticize bigger companies for doing something that we're doing right now. All right, so guys, remember, check out massivewebdesign.ca if you're looking for new web design. Of course, any of our U.S. viewers, the Canadian dollar is really good for you guys. It's actually really, really low. So if you guys are looking for a quote from Massive Web Design, you actually might get a really good deal. Don't quote me on that. I'm just saying that the Canadian dollar is advantageous for Americans. So think about it. Just think about it. Of course, they do offer graphic design as well. So definitely give them a like and a follow. Tell them that Jay sent you. All right, guys. So a couple of things: Kickstarter and crowdsourced projects. Also, guys, if you want to follow Comix Asylum on Instagram, I forgot. You guys can definitely check them out. They're talking all about the new Atrium comic book. You guys should definitely give them a like and a follow as well. So guys, some really crazy developments are happening in the crowdsource world. First thing I wanted to talk about today is the freaking Ghost. Whoo, Steve, it's been a while for the Star Wars for you, but are you planning on backing the Ghost at all, or did you even know that this was a thing? Like, did not even know this was a thing. Yeah. It's been a while since you've been collecting, on the regular. What are your thoughts about billion-dollar companies getting in on the Kickstarter model? Like, what do you have any initial thoughts or anything you want to talk about?
It's interesting because, like, even in comics, Image, like Top Cow, and there are several publishers that are doing the same thing. I guess it's a free world; anyone can take part in it, so it's great. But I do find it interesting because then it just kind of takes away one avenue that independents have that was theirs as a ways to kind of get themselves out there. So you're always going to be competing with whoever the giants are in whatever industry you're trying to be in.
100%. As a matter of fact, one of the more famous examples of that is Berserker. Yep. Holy crap! This raised a record number: $1,447,200. $1,000,000.
How are you going to compete with John Wick, man?
$212 to bring this to life from Boom Studios, a fully established. This was really this brings to question a lot of things. This is a fully fledged comic book studio, and they have connections with multiple different movie properties. They do a lot of different work. Gilly, what are your thoughts? Because Steve's obviously mentioned about this. I'm going to ask Steve anyway. But what are your thoughts about them raising $1.4 million, nearly reaching $1.5 million to publish a book? I mean, you're looking for $3,000. Both of you guys are probably looking for $2,500. These guys raised $1.5 million practically. Just shy of it. Gilly, what are your thoughts on that? Like, that's just absolutely nuts.
It's nuts. I mean, like you said, it's hard to compete with that. At the same time, I mean, I can't hate that, right? I'm a creator myself, but what they did, I think they created this Kickstarter edition. So it's not like that's the only way you can get it. There is a direct market version of this book. So they made like this cool Kickstarter exclusive. Look at that. Keanu Reeves is a co-writer. Matt Kent. You got top people on this. That's what you do. You're in a position where you're that company and you're going to create a new property. That's the way to do it. I can't hate on it. I mean, I would love to be working in that position, but it also hurts a little bit because, again, I'm competing against that. If you're looking at the ocean, right, Boom Studios has this big yacht and Keanu Reeves is there with his megaphone saying, "Guys, come check out Berserker." And me and Steve are in our little paddle boats, and we got a little cardboard roll up. Guys, check out Atrium, check out Grom. You can't do anything. This is the monster. But I appreciate that they are getting comic books out there to people. Maybe there's someone who haven't read comics in a while and sees this and sees Keanu Reeves on it, and that's just going to get them back into comics. So again, it's you want to keep the space for independence, but I gotta appreciate that. I can't hate on that.
No, anything that brings more eyeballs to comic books, to the medium, is great.
Sure, absolutely.
You know, so I'm like you. I can't be a hater. I'm actually impressed with it, because when you look at some of the numbers that are coming out of stores, right, and some of the sales figures per month, these numbers aren't necessarily what are coming from mainstream comics, right? Like manga might have it, Scholastic might have some of these numbers, but to have a comic book do this is fantastic. And
look at the amount of backers, right? 14,000 was able to generate almost 1.5 mil.
Yeah.
Just imagine if they had 40,000, or even some of the top Marvel books that sell, isn't it, in like the low 100,000s? I mean, if it does like maybe good, like the good sellers. Maybe if there's a book that doesn't sell well, it's maybe making 40 or 80,000. I mean, to make that on 14 grand. I mean, 14,000 backers is insane.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of interesting tiers they have. But you know, I think if you're able to kind of ride the wave and not get caught in the wake, you know, the kind of interest and enthusiasm that might be behind a project like this, hopefully then bleeds into the things that Gilly and Vaughn and I are doing, and other indie creators.
Let's just oogle at some of these crazy tiers. Let's go from the most expensive up. So this is a pledge for $2,500 for you to become. This is what I'm trying to tell you, Steve. You got to put in the 2,500 appearance. You got to do that. Somebody pledged $2,500. Gilly got $1,000. You know what I mean? Like you got to.
They have dialogue.
You got to ball that up.
This one has dialogue, so they actually have it. If you look at it like film, that speaking role versus just being an on-camera extra with no dialogue, there's a huge difference.
That's right, and you get naming credit too, right? So that's a big thing. So $2,500 for that, Gilly. You would have killed for that one too, right? At $1,000, it's a Platinum Immortal signed box set by Keanu Reeves and the team. So $1,000 got you a Platinum Immortal signed box set. $500 got you the Gunmetal exclusive box set. So I think these are all different types of what's called tin box covers. The Bronze Age 350 exclusive box set. Then they had the Blood Red exclusive box set. So yeah, they have some interesting tiers here. $105 for the hardcore covers and $85 for the one-day deal, and it just keeps going down from there. But wow, just an amazing an amazing accomplishment by the team. $1.447, $202 million. Oh my God, just absolutely crazy. And you know, they're not the only comic creators who did something. I mean, for crying out loud, getting back into the comic book scene, Todd McFarlane just blew that out of the water. $3.447, $390 million. $3,447,390 million to bring the original Spawn action figure and comic remaster to life. Holy crap! This is another one of those. And this is the one that I keep asking. You know, should companies like Todd McFarlane? I mean, he's arguably he's doing some amazing things in toys, but did he really need this money to to bring his project to life? I mean, he could have done this without it. I mean, realistically, but I don't know. I'm not gonna say no. As you said, Steve, as you said, Gilly, it's a free country, right? And you know what? You do whatever you have to do to get an advantage. And yeah, you know, with his name, with his property, and the IP, I think is the big deal. You know, forget about the fact that it's Todd McFarlane. I think that people love Spawn, right? I think that when you build a brand like you do as a Todd McFarlane, and you are as recognized as you are, but the really the property, right? The idea of Spawn, and people love Spawn. I think that's actually really what captured people for the Kickstarter. Thoughts, guys? Like Steve, what are your thoughts on?
No, an established brand. It's kind of like why Marvel and DC are publishing so much Batman related stuff or Spider-Man related stuff, because they're surefire hits, right? And so like the days of maybe when we were kids and you could try something as a new property, it was a little bit more I guess manageable. But now with margins as tight as they are, everyone's going for a sure hit. That's why even in Hollywood there's a lot of, part 2, part 3, part 4 in terms of sequels, as opposed to a new property or new IP. And even within those sequels, you're getting a lot of regurgitated kind of ideas and scripts. So like, oh, isn't this movie basically, the second movie? Like the fifth movie is like the second movie, but just, in a different locale. So I get it. McDonald's isn't going to change the recipe for the McDonald's sauce, for the Big Mac. So you keep doing what works, right? Maybe add an extra patty, but you're not necessarily gonna mess around with it. Coke figured that out a long time ago. Don't mess with what works.
Coke was punished for trying something different. Gilly, what are your thoughts on the Spawn initiative?
I mean, I know Todd McFarlane had the DC. He has a DC connection. The exclusive rights to do that through his McFarlane Toys. I mean, it's Spawn. I mean, as a kid in the 90s, if you grew up in the 90s, I mean, you just knew what Spawn represented. And I mean, maybe for whatever reason, he couldn't tap into whatever resources to launch a Spawn action figure. Why not go on Kickstarter? He got 23,000 backers initially just supporting that. It gets made. And then there's people seeing on the back market, you see on eBay, the Spawn figure who never heard of a Kickstarter, who are just seeing this glorious Spawn figure, or again, trying to hunt this figure down, fear of missing out. I can't hate on it. It's Spawn. It's a badass move. It's one of those moves that you got to do it. It's as sad as it sounds, right? It's like, I don't know if it's too capitalist, but it's like you have the recognition, you have it there, and you just take advantage of that. And why not? Now, I mean, you get from there. Maybe that's what was able to launch the Spawn line. He got whatever resources there, get prototypes, get stuff done, and just keep it going. So it's a power move. That's a big power move. And Kickstarter is a platform where, again, it's for the little guys, it's hard to compete because, again, and Jay, this, we have our flip war thing going out, right? Like that's going to be something that's going to be. This is our competition, But on the flip side, maybe people who come looking for the Spawn stuff somehow go into a rabbit hole and could find any of these other indie projects, like with Spiro Toys or something. So again, I can't hate him for it, because again, you're showing that maybe not in a direct market, maybe the way action figure sales. Again, I don't know. I know they were booming back when we were young, and they got, as we grow older, the kid in us still keeps the hobby afloat. This just shows that, hey, there's still a good market for action figures, even if it's just through crowdfunding. And that could even open the doors to just keep it going, on a more mainstream level.
Yeah, no, I think I'm with you guys. As always, it's like, when you think about it, Todd is still not $1 billion company. He's making a lot of money off of McFarlane Toys and his own IPs. But when you talk about $1 billion companies, I mean, where am I here? The Ghost. No, that's not it. Where am I going? The Ghost. This project is just actually going back gangbusters right now. In the last 24 hours, right? People are questioning whether or not Kane and Jarrus was even a thing. We're now at 13,098 backers, only about 900 backers away from unlocking the second tier, the third tier. The second stretch goal, and they still have 3 days and 4 hours to go. Now, this is what we were talking about earlier, that there's a plateau stage in Kickstarters, right? So you know what? Going over to our good friends over at Geek Dad Life. They actually have Brian Brink's HasLab charts, and thanks to Brian Brink, who's doing some amazing work here, we can actually take a look at some numbers and really just try to get a gauge on how this works. So, as we can see here, current back account is 13,095. It's literally being updated as we speak, and you can see right here that the ghost projection, right? This blue.
Spike.
Sorry, can you guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So as you can see right here, the blue line, I believe, is the This is the sorry, the red line. The red line is the ghost. So there it is. There's the red line, and you can see that there was a huge spike right at the beginning. Like it pretty much went up like a rocket. Then it got funded pretty much around the third or fourth day. As you can see here, these are the 5-day mark, right? And then literally it plateaued, right? So it flatlined right after about the 6th day, and it just continued to micro pledges here, had a bit of a jump on the 20th day. Then again, micro pledges, probably because they made an announcement that day, right? They probably made an announcement saying something, and it just kept going. And now we're at the 45-day mark, right? And we know that the ghost deadline is September 6th, and we know these last 4 days, right? Just by history, just looking at all these other charts, that things just spike like crazy. You know, this is the actual Razor Crest, and you can actually see by history it flatlined and then just basically boom, right? It went gangbusters. And even this one here, which one is this? This is what is this one? This is the sail barge. And as you can see, the sail barge went through a rough ride. Like it plateaued, and then right closer to the end, it really spiked up and finally got its backing. So, yeah, this one is pretty crazy. So, Steve, let me ask you, $499 US, which is around, I guess, close to $600 Canadian, $500 US, maybe $650 Canadian. Would you even consider in your wildest dreams of actually backing this project, Steve? Like, what are your thoughts?
Maybe if it was like a Millennium Falcon or an X-Wing, only because I don't have a deep connection to this ship.
Yep.
Right. As a man of my age. And so I still have my original, my OG Millennium. And so if it was something like that, or it was a vehicle that I was totally attached to as a kid, then nostalgia would kick in, and then I could see myself doing it. But for me to drop that on something, because I'm not like a toy collector, and I'm not in there speculating or anything like that. It's not going to appeal to me. But I can definitely see at a price like that, considering Hot Toys and Sideshow Collectibles have their own kind of maquettes and stuff like that people pay that kind of price for and higher. So it depends on who you're marketing it to, and who your audience is.
Yeah, you definitely have to be a Rebels fan, and this is I think they're really going for the Ahsoka Tano, because that's actually the way it's being positioned, as an Ahsoka Tano. The problem is that by the time it actually funds, by the time it actually ends, we probably won't even see the ghost in Ahsoka. I think we've seen Phantom 2, but we have not seen the ghost yet. So that's an interesting little dynamic that's going on there. Gilly, what are your thoughts about this? Have you decided to back this thing, or are you completely staying away?
Again, if I had that money to just throw around, and God bless you guys who got that disposable income and you want to jump in on this, hats off to you. For me, $500 on that ship. Is there a scale comparison to the figure? Is this 1/6 scale? I mean, I don't know.
This is 1/12. This is 1/12 scale. So they are 3 3/4 figures. They're the original vintage line. Yeah.
Got you. That's a little steep. That's a little steep. And like Steve said, if it's not something you're feeling, but again, looking at the pictures, it's cool.
Yeah.
What's not cool. It's I'm just saying, if you got it, go for it. I just can't. I look at that as I could put that money into a comic, right? Into my own comic, paying an artist off a couple pages. That's how I look at it. I break it down differently. But if this was a franchise that was dear to my heart, and I had that money to throw around, and I had my man cave with this setup here, this setup there, I'm like, this is a nice complimentary piece to the OG Millennium Falcon, I'd probably go for it. So this one isn't for me. But again, I'm glad that it funded, and I'm glad they're unlocking stuff. I just wish they had more of the crew unlocked. I don't know, was Zeb unlocked, or I just saw in the pictures that he was there. They have some of the Rebels crew, so it's kind of cool. I see the merit there.
Yeah. So on that, they recently unlocked Ezra Bridger. So Ezra was unlocked at 11,000 backers, right? And this is the concern right now because we're on the last 4 days. To unlock Kanan Jarrus, we're at 13,103. It literally just jumped as we were talking. I don't know if you guys realize that, but it jumped as we were talking. So to unlock Kanan, we need to get to 14,000. So we are just shy of 900 backers left to go. We're actually at 897 backers. Yeah, I think I'm right. 897 backers. Yeah, 897 backers to unlock Kanan Jarrus, and then we need to get to 17,000 backers to complete the full. Well, not the full Ghost crew. We're actually missing two more.
Zeb's not in there.
Zeb, not yet.
17, and they're at 13,000. So
they're at 13,000.
4,000 more backers in 3 days.
In 3 days, but come on, Gilly, we've seen it, right? We have seen.
That looks good. I'm just saying. If you're a big Rebels fan, and you got the money, I would. 500 is a lot. Maybe 300. I mean, is 250 a lot? I don't know. I'm like 500 is a lot though, and it's a small scale. I don't know, man. I'm just saying.
Oh well, you say it's a small. Okay. You say it's a small scale, okay, but it's
no, but
massive. Like
it's right. So how big an inch? Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, what's the size? Actually, is it like
okay, here,
4 feet, 5? Like
here. We'll show you what the dimensions are. Yeah, here are the dimensions. It is 21 inches wide by 34 inches long by 13 inches high. So it is a big boy. Like this thing is huge.
And I see there's a lot of interior with the rooms and stuff.
Yeah. You can open her up, right? So
okay. I'm getting a little excited because this is a toy geek in me coming out. So I could see how you do that. Like that's kind of cool.
Yeah, man.
That's kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. If I had money for it, I would jump on this. I mean, 500 it's kind of high, but I'm seeing a lot of it. It's intricate. It's a little complex, man.
It's more intricate than the. Okay, so Steve has the OG Millennium Falcon. Mm-hmm. The Millennium Falcon they did for Galaxy's Edge was even more complex and way more detailed, right, at the time. And that was $300 US, right, for the Millennium Falcon. This one, although it doesn't have any licensed sound, which the Millennium Falcon did, the Galaxy's Edge Millennium Falcon did have licensed sound. The detail and the craftsmanship and being able to come in here, do all this kind of crazy stuff, and of course if they reach the full tier set of
will they include any kind of like light and sound?
No, they won't. It's not lights and sound are not included. They made that statement very early on. I did a whole video on that. But yeah, 17,000 backers to reach Zeb Aurelios.
I love the card on that too. I hope it makes it.
Yeah, me too. There's the thing though. Would you want to take them off these cards though? That's what really kind of
upsets me too. They should have 2, right? Shouldn't they? I mean, I'm just saying, shouldn't they? If you're charging 500, maybe some kind of where you, like you said, these are going to be really sought after, because they're really collectible because they're only available through here. They should have 2, right? The one maybe that comes in a plastic baggie. And the one that comes in the card, right? So you get one to play around with and one to put on the wall or just to.
Oh my God, that's crazy! Yeah, because these are only going to go up in price, right? If you don't open them, if you don't open up, these are only going to go up in price. Absolutely. The way I would play this, is they have already announced the Ahsoka crew, right, for the Ghost. Okay, so they're already talking about that. So I would keep these guys on card because these ones are never going to be released again, quote unquote, and they're going to release the Ahsoka Ghost crew anyway. So you open up those ones because you can buy two or three sets of those, right? And you put them in the Ghost. The other ones you just hang on your wall, wait until they get $200 each or whatever, right? And then that's how I would technically play that myself. Strategy. Right? It's an interesting one, right? Like, again, there are options. There are options to actually go for that. So yeah,
Jay, I hate to cut and run.
No worries.
My time's up. But Gilly, I had a great time meeting you, and
Steve, pleasure.
Thank you very much. This was awesome.
Anytime. When the campaign's coming around to another, closer to the final few days, Steve, hit me up. get Greg in here for crying out loud. Get him.
I will. I will.
Okay.
He's a busy man, so
He is.
we'll make sure we get some time.
It's all love. It's all love. I'm just
Absolutely.
I'm ribbing him. We miss him. But and I hung up with him at Fan Expo, so it's all good. You know what I mean? But get him on the stream. Let's talk on the last few days. Let's do a countdown. We'll do something fun. You know what I mean? And maybe we'll give away a couple of Atrium issues.
That's definitely something we can talk about. There's some things that we've got cooking for the second campaign, so maybe we'll push them to the countdown for this one.
Sure, and it sounds like a lot of fun. But Steve, how can people reach you? What are you working on? And if is there any can people check out your Instagram page?
Yeah, so you can find me at Steve Bynoe Art on Instagram. My company's www.bobocreative.com, and you can catch me on comixasylum.com. So I basically post my art and any Atrium related stuff on Instagram, and I have some comic books in the works, and just hard at work making sure that Atrium issues 3, 4, and 5 are in the can, that's so we can get those up and ready for you next year.
Thanks, Steve. Really appreciate it. You have a great rest of the.
You too. Enjoy what's left of the long weekend, to both of you, and we'll see you guys soon.
All right.
Take it easy, Steve. Nice meeting you.
All right. Thanks. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Mega J, I think I'm gonna use that point also. The family came back. I don't know if you hear the cooing in the background.
I hear you, brother. I hear it. All right. You know what? On that note, let's just wrap this up. So definitely, guys, the Ghost. You only have a few more days left to go. And Super 7, the Thundercats Cat Lair. This one needs a lot of help. But we have 14 days left, so it's already backed. But if you want to get the tier 1, which is the chemistry set with another fucking claw shield and another freaking sword of omens, right? You need to hit 4,000 backers, and if you want the astral form of Rhino, we need to have 5,000 backers. So, yeah, I know. So Gilly,
what are they at? 3,000 what?
3,309 backers. So we can make it. 14 days left to go.
Oh, yeah. That's
we got tons of time. And
at least for that second form Lionel. Holy crap!
I know, that's crazy. Are you able to go on this Gilly, or it's pretty much a pipe dream, right? Like
that's when the Galactic Ruins of Mayhem franchise gets signed to a big movie studio. I'm gonna have to go on the aftermarket on eBay or something, pay triple the price, but I will gladly do that.
Yeah,
this
is a grail. This is a grail, everybody. This is the one that you need to have. This is the one you need to have. Gilly, my friend, thank you so much for being here tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. Gilly, what are you working on? Obviously, we've covered the Galactic Roadhounds of Mayhem. And my brother, how can people reach you, and what are you working on right now?
All right, Mega J, again, thanks for having me. Galactic Roadhounds of Mayhem, I'm working on the GAN-GON Saga. I will have another spinoff duo, the Cyber Ninja. So I got stuff cooking, and I do have a top secret superhero comic book that's in the works, and I also have a sword and sorcery book in the works. If you like He-Man, if you like Conan the Barbarian, I have something working with the same artist that did Galactic Rodents of Mayhem, Sebastian Navas. We will have something on that. You could reach me at GillyWritesComics.com. You could also find out any of my latest campaigns on GillyWritesComics.com. You can also find me on Instagram at Gilly_Writes_Comics. So again, thank you so much, Mega J, for having me, and hopefully one day we can see the Grom as action figures. Maybe that could be within 10 year, a little bucket list thing. But again, guys, thank you so much for checking out these cool toys, checking out these comics. Spread the word if you can. If you could support, cool. But again, we appreciate you guys, and Mega J, thank you so much again for allowing me to speak about my cool comic.
Absolutely. Good to see you, Gilly. Again, guys, check out the links are in the description below for both Atrium and GAN-GON Saga. Definitely GAN-GON Saga. Sorry about that. And guys, definitely check those out. Definitely support these independent creators. They do need your help. And of course, thank you so much, Gilly, and best of luck to you. Definitely, brother. Take care of the family. We all need to do, take care of
Enjoy the rest of that Labor Day weekend. You too, Mega J.
Absolutely, brother. So we'll see you soon, Gilly. Thanks a lot.
All right, later.
Take it easy. Guys, thank you so much for being here tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. Please check out all of those wonderful projects. Those guys need as much help as they can. Guys, I hope you're all doing well, staying safe. And as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. Good journey. Geek proud.